Welcome to Raven on the Rock, Denver's way to expose unique talent and original music from local artists. With your host, Rockin' Raven. You're going to enjoy what you are about to hear on Raven on the Rock. Brought to you by Rockin' Raven Productions and the Scoop 303.
Welcome back to Raven on the Rock. I'm Raven, and in the studio tonight I have the one, the only, Mr. Ric Cabot Podmore, and we are going to have fun tonight, aren't we, Rick?
Yeah. Well, here we are. We're on the rock.
We are. We're on the rock.
I do not know its geological composite, but I am on the rock.
And he brought wine. Some good stuff. We're going to talk about that later, too.
If we get there.
We'll get there. We have 2 whole hours. And, you know, the more I learn about Ric Cabot Podmore, he's going to be back. We're not going to have enough time in 2 hours, are we? You just have this amazing life.
Oh, I have a life, and it's very colorful.
It is very colorful. And you have just seen things that we all wish we could. You have worked with so many amazing musicians, right?
Very, very fortunate, yes. I've been blessed to have collaborated and worked with the elite, the best that there are in the world. So yeah, I still can't believe that happens the way it happens. It's just the phone rings and I look at who's on the caller ID and I just go, oh my God. And then I hang up the phone and I'm usually in tears going, oh man, how did that ever happen? How did that ever happen? How?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an amazing, beautiful journey. I love it.
Well, you're very talented and you deserve to be where you are.
Well, thank you. And guess what?
What?
You deserve to be where you are.
Thank you.
She's on the rock.
I am on the rock. See, look, up there.
I was going to go there, and I'm just not.
Well, I have this 82-year-old friend, Colette, and that rock there's a rock up on my shelf, and that rock came from some land from 3 years ago. And I think I talked to you about this before. I had found this land that I wanted to build a studio in like a little amphitheater on.
Oh, yeah.
And called Hope Haven.
Right.
Because I wanted to do a lot with youth music. And that rock came from that land. Well, sometimes your dreams, they have a different meaning than you think they do. But you don't realize it until later.
Absolutely. That's kind of my story.
Yeah. Well, this land that I wanted to buy, I was in with a realtor, 2 realtors on this land up in, it was off Golden Gate Canyon Road. And I went back a couple days later to sit on this tree, which turned into my tree of hope because it started to grow up. Then it grew west and then it grew up again. And for some stupid reason, I looked at the realtor and I said, that's a tree of hope. It started off on the wrong path, but then it found its way. I don't know why I said that. But it turns out that I wasn't supposed to buy this land. I was supposed to find that tree. Because a couple days later, I went back and I sat on that tree, and I had this huge epiphany. And my whole life made sense.
Awesome.
So that rock came from that land. Well, the stuffed raven that's sitting on top of that rock came from Joanne Fabrics at Halloween. But now there is a raven sitting on the rock.
There is a scary bird staring at me. I just want everyone out there to know that Edgar Allan Poe, the ghost of Edgar Allan Poe, is in the room.
I will take a picture of that raven on the rock and post it. So where did we start? How old were you when we started this whole musical journey?
Oh, God. Well, there's probably 3 or 4 starting points. I mean, there's the proverbial my childhood kind of story. I have a unique childhood story. My parents, when I was very, very young, we lived in Aspen. My father owned a nightclub with live music. It was called the Night Club, although that's Knight, like, knight in shining armor. Okay. That's what it's called. And kind of the the quick story is that one night the babysitter couldn't show up, so they actually took me to the club and they had me playing with my toys back in the office. And the bass player for the band was called the Roadrunners. You can look them up. They were actually a semi-successful 60s kind of band back in the early 60s. The bass player for the Roadrunners heard me kind of dancing and jamming around back there with my toys, and he sold my parents on the fact, let's put him on stage.
Whoa.
So they walked me out on stage and put a microphone, lowered the microphone down in front of me. I was like 4, I think, something like that. And my first vocal performance ever was just saying the word tequila. And
you had to say tequila.
And I just got in the microphone and said tequila. And of course, I remember vividly the crowd going wild and, oh, this is great. Center of attention. Here I am. And of course, that leads to all the other things like seeing the Beatles on Ed Sullivan and, blah, 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 blah. And, the usual motivational things that kind of get you into this business is, wow, that looks really great. You're, and I think there's another side to it. I was thinking about this not long ago that, a lot of guys probably don't really recognize, men specifically, I'll say that. We all grow up with childhood stories, and women aspire to be Cinderella or Snow White or what have you, the heroine center figure of the story. And I think that most men get into things like athletics and whatnot, to be the knight in shining armor, the Prince Charming guy. That's kind of there's an inner dwelling in there of wanting to be the hero.
Right.
And when you see that you can strap on a guitar and girls go crazy, you're an instant hero. Hey, wow, this is easy. Okay. I don't have to fight a dragon or nothing, man. I just got to know a couple of chords. I'm in.
Right.
So I think that's how everybody kind of starts.
Right.
And then the evolutionary process of falling in love with the art and, the journey kind of takes you to different places. Like you were saying, I started off with this thing thinking I was going to be a rock star. And really, truly, in my epiphany moment, my revelation was I was in a really crazy place with all this stuff going on musically a few years back. And I recognized that the only thing I ever really wanted to do was write and record my music at the highest level I could do it. Playing at Red Rocks and, being on tour, and I'd done tours and whatnot.
Right.
That didn't mean anything to me. Playing in front of people, I'd performed enough to know I just wanted to record the best recordings that I could make. That was it, is that I wanted to be at the highest level I could make it. When it came to recording music, and that's where I'm at. I'm running in that lane, and I'm very happy about that. So
well, so are we, because we get to hear a lot of that tonight, and I've heard some of it, and I'll tell you what, I hope you're not missing this show tonight. You're just gonna be like, oh my God, where has this guy been in my life?
Is it archived?
It will be archived. Yes.
Awesome. For all you missers.
Yes. Well, people work, people got to do stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why I archive them.
Awesome.
I think that's important. We'll always come back to Ric Cabot Podmore. So you were born in Denver then?
No.
No.
Nope.
Where were you born?
I was hatched.
Where were you hatched, Rick?
Yeah, my mom will just love that. Don't be listening, Mom. Actually, I'm as close to being a Colorado native as you can be without actually being one. I was born in Farmington, New Mexico. We moved to Aspen when I was 6 months old.
Oh, wow.
And I've been here ever since.
There you go.
Technically,
you're
not
native.
a native, but, kind of grandfathered in on the Colorado love type of deal.
Don't get me going on the Colorado love, because we're just going to go right to Share the Magic then. Isn't Colorado an amazing place?
Greatest place on the face of the planet.
It is.
And what's really great now? I have to say this. This is just, I do work in LA and I do work in Nashville. And for the past year, we've kind of become famous for a certain new law that sets us apart as a state.
Yes.
And, when I meet somebody new in Nashville or in LA and they just, you're from Colorado, in their eyes, it's just like, you would think that they just saw somebody with $1 million. They're like, how's that going? Wow. And And of course, all I say is that, hey, 5 years we're going to have the best road system ever because of all the tax revenue. So,
Yeah, but that upsets me because I don't want people to think of Colorado as the pot state of the world.
hey, John Denver, prophet, Rocky Mountain High, man. The guy knew it long before we did.
I want Colorado to be the music capital of the world, not the pot capital of the world.
Well, okay.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Okay.
So, your first band, were you in high school?
Oh, God. Well, I guess you'd have to describe band.
Okay.
What's the seriousness of band? Because there's,
Your first garage gig.
First garage gig. My first garage gig was being grounded for doing something really bad, and I had to clean the garage.
Ooh.
Well, in high school, I kind of messed around. There's kind of one of the other funny pieces to my life is that in high school, I kind of just did everything. I was a football player, which I was blessed to play for the great Gary Barnett. We actually had a high school radio station, so I was a DJ.
Nice.
I was into music and theater and all this stuff, and so the guy that I kind of hold responsible for this being my life was a guy that I met in high school, and he was a bass player, and I just thought he was so cool, and I want to just hang out with that guy. And I didn't know much, I was only about 3 chords on guitar, and he kept saying, "Man, you're really good at this," and I was like, somebody, they're playing a trick on me. Somewhere's along the line, this is going to end, and they're going to pull my pants off or something. I don't know, whatever. But he kept saying, "You're really, really good at this," and one thing led to another, and of course here I am doing this. But he and I played a lot. We just do these duo things and kind of crazy, just trying to make music kind of things.
Yeah,
and
just
stuff.
like a little jam in his basement.
Yeah. And he'd play bass, and I'd really play very bad guitar. God, I just don't know. Some people just put up with me. I think they're, I got this magic fairy dust that just says put up with me, and I've been sprinkling that for about 20 years, 30 years now, and people just put up with me.
So 35 years ago, that would be 1980. Oh my gosh, that was 35 years ago. 1980.
Yeah. High school, actually, for me, I graduated in 1978. Class of 78,
Yeah.
Air Academy.
But we had a request from Miss Diane Robinson. She said, "Talk about 35 years ago." What you talking about, Rick? Let us in on
Should we
that.
talk about Diane 35 years ago?
Sure.
I hope you're listening, Diane, because I could throw you under the bus hard now. Actually, I couldn't. Diane was happily married to a bass player in a band that ended up playing my songs as their originals. I was kind of like the whatever you want to call it, the outside songwriter for their band kind of thing. They were doing my songs as their originals, so that was kind of fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's how you met Diane.
Yep.
So when you were in the basement with this bass player, did he have a name? What was his name? Just first name.
His name's Greg.
Greg.
He's now he's now a pilot for FedEx.
Oh,
Yeah, he makes all the dough.
cool. Okay, so you and Greg are just hanging out and jamming. Mm-hmm. How did the songwriting come into it?
Well, that's kind of the thing, is that I just had a natural knack for that. For some reason, my musicianship took longer to develop. But I could figure out. It was real easy for me when I started learning songs. I was just like, oh, I get that, and the equation, and I was really, I was very good in subjects like English and composition and stuff like that in school. I just aced literary stuff like that, and poetry, and so it was really easy for me to formulate, these 3 and 4 minute long stories, and put chords to them.
Nice.
And that's kind of how I actually, in the very beginning, I was writing the lyrical content first, and then just trying to wank out whatever the chords would be in the very beginning. And then I learned, when I got to Beau Hill, he kind of really put the finishing touches on my skill. He took my talent and really transformed it into a skill and taught me how to actually really write songs.
So Beau Hill is your mentor.
Yes, he, that's kind of one of those lucky stroke, whatever you want to call it, the lightning strike kind of thing that happens in life, where here's this guy, and he, I tell everybody the guy has the greatest vision ever, because he saw me at 19 years old. He saw something, and how could anybody have seen that? Because I was just really not that good.
Well, that's why each of us have our own talents, and he had the talent to know you needed to be mentored because you were going to be something big.
Well, are you talking about my waistline?
No, I'm talking about you.
Okay, just want to make sure that that's not a fat joke.
No, that's not a fat joke. So those of them or us who do not know about Beau Hill, tell us a little bit about Beau.
Well, I met Beau Hill. He was in a band based out of Denver called Airborne. Airborne was signed to Columbia Records. Their first record, it did marginally well. For those who want to kind of know what they sounded like at the time, they were kind of a cross between a Styx and a Kansas type of thing. They had three very talented singers, Beau Hill, David Zychek, and Larry Stewart. And Larry Stewart's kind of fun connectivity is that Larry, before he was in Airborne, he was in a band called MS Funk with a little-known guy from Styx called Tommy Shaw. Mm-hmm. So if you can imagine these two singers in a band together, Larry Stewart and Tommy Shaw. And so I met Beau kind of, I wouldn't say by accident, I kind of intended it, but...
Were you stalking him?
Yeah, sort of. Actually, a guy who met me heard my songs and said, the guy you need to know is Beau Hill. And so I went and looked him up and, just kind of found my way to him, got myself in front of him, and he liked me. And,
Nice.
that was the lucky part, was that he liked me. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, he'd found, just to kind of put some timing element on it, he had found probably the most talented guy I'd ever seen at 18 years old. We're the same age, and that was Kip Winger. Mm-hmm. And so Beau, really, that's where his relationship with Kip started, even though it didn't manifest until about 10 years later when Winger sold all those records. But
Right.
So I met Beau, and Beau really, like I said, he saw something and took care of me, and I was the guy that rolled up cables for the, I was in sessions with Airborne, rolling up cables and going and getting whoppers and filling up cars with gas. And
Okay, and those of you who don't understand the music world, that would be the mailroom.
pretty much, I was the gopher.
Yeah, but you got to start somewhere.
You're right. And one day I was kind of playing something on the piano, and Beau said, "What's that?" I said, "Just something I'm picking out." He goes, "Let's write that." And the next thing I know, I'm writing songs with the guy.
Nice.
And so 3 of my songs ended up being part of their next record. And that's kind of how I got started.
Nice.
To the next level, so to speak.
All right, well, let's go to a commercial before we get to the next level. And we will be right back with more Ric Cabot Podmore.
Pepperdine's integrated approach to business solutions offers you access to an array of products and services through decades of experience, state-of-the-art production processes, as well as inspired technological innovation. Whether your business or organization requires printed marketing materials, promotional ads, specialty items, commercial signage, stamps, or simply functional internal forms, their dedicated staff will provide the level of personal service and support your project deserves. Pepperdine's is located at 790 Umatilla Street, Denver, Colorado, 80204, or call 303-595-3663.
This is Remus Tucker. You're listening to Raven on the Rock, only on VRDO Radio.
All right, we are back with more Ric Cabot Podmore. So, what's the next level? Is that where Arrival comes, or
what's the next level? The next level. It sounds like a video game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hi, I have my sword out now.
I don't get into the sword ones. I like the Mario ones. Where you jump for
Okay.
the coins. Or Mario Kart. Oh my god, I love Mario Kart.
I know nothing about video games, really, truthfully.
So I could whip your butt. All right. Anyway, to the next level, Rick.
That screeching you hear is the brakes on my mouth. So the next level.
You're writing songs with Beau.
Yeah, Beau Hill was here till 1982, and his career took a turn into production, much like mine did later. Mm-hmm. And he left Denver and, of course, became one of the mega producers of the 80s. He produced a slew of kind of the big 80s hair bands, Rat, Warrant, Winger, He did stuff with Roger Daltrey for the Lost Boys soundtrack. He did an Alice Cooper record. I think the records he's produced sold around 80 million copies through the 80s and the early 90s. So the thing was that everything he taught me, I was like, okay, I know something.
Yeah, you do.
And one thing led to another. It's kind of there's a sad saga to the next few years of my life in a band called Saint Germain. And then I end up with this project on the table called Arrival. Mm-hmm. And a couple guys that I really, really wanted to work with, Charlie McCormick and Norm Peterson. And I just knew that if we put the combination together, we were going to write some really, really killer songs. And we started writing material and cutting material. And then it came time to find a singer. And the curse of Ric Podmore songs is that it takes a very exceptional singer to sing the songs. Mm-hmm. It's this thing that's in my head. I've always been chasing that whole big vocal tenor thing, whether it be the Steve Perrys or the Brad Delps or the Jeff Tates or whoever. It's just there's that big sound in my head. Mm-hmm. And so it takes exceptional singers, and we couldn't find anybody in Denver, and we just got very, very lucky to find that one of the premier rock voices in the world was a free agent in 1986, and that's Mark Free. He was in the band King Cobra, and found this out, got his number, called him, somehow convinced him to have a meeting with me, and Charlie and I flew out the next day to Los Angeles, and I sat there in his apartment in North Hollywood doing karaoke to our tracks, and I talked him into coming to Colorado to be part of Arrival, and so he did. So we got Mark Free as the lead singer in Arrival in the early years.
Nice.
And so we made some really, really, I think it's some really, really great music. I'm really proud of those records, those recordings. We made one record, but all of the recordings we did during that period of time with Mark were exceptional. I was really proud of those.
Was it an actual record?
Yes, actually. The record was called Out of Nowhere, and we were on the table with about 4 different record labels. They came. It was really funny because they'd come to the studio and they'd interview us, and and it was really kind of fun because they were just on a party mission. Let's go to Colorado and party. But we met with several labels, and due to some contractual issues, a deal never went together. That brought us, to that next level. We'd made a record that was finished, but we never got it signed, and so Mark moved on, and we had to move on, and that was a whole nother journey. So
right.
But
so what are some of the songs that were your early Arrival?
Probably the one that I'm most proud of is one I wrote with Charlie called "Say Goodbye."
Okay.
And it's one that it turned out really, really well. 1987, 88, whatever it was, and. It was one of those things where we're sitting there and we're just going, man, that should, we're all sitting there going, that should be on the radio, that should be in a movie, that should be, we should be millionaires now, thank you. But again, just part of the journey, part of the dream is that, it's the process. Mm-hmm. So it didn't happen then, but it was a great time. It was a fun time for us back then. It was really, really exciting.
Well, I'm sure it taught you a lot for the future, too.
It did.
Yeah. So what was it called?
The song I'm talking about, are you asking me the one you should play?
Yes.
Say Goodbye.
Okay, I got it. Found it. Okay. So speaking of teaching you things, the whole thing with this first before Arrival, and you had to move on because you didn't, like me and the tree. I wasn't supposed to buy the land. I was supposed to find the tree. What did you learn from your first thing that didn't get signed, but you did it anyway?
Well, actually, it was the lesson I learned prior to that, which was I was in a very bad management deal. The management company. Well, I'll get to the lesson, and the lesson's really simple for all you youngsters out there.
Well, that's what I wanted. Yeah.
Well, the first band I was in after my time with Airborne in Bow Hill was a band called Saint Germain. And that's the Diane Robinson part, and me gathering musicians from the Colorado area, and we'd put together this kind of all-star Colorado band, and we went out on tour. We did really, really well, but the management company did not want to support the vision that I had for recording. They wanted us to just tour, because, of course, we were providing them with a pretty substantial paycheck every week. And I wanted to make a record. I wanted to, I was looking at a bigger picture.
Right.
Anyway, the management company and I didn't see eye to eye after a while, and I did the wrong thing, which is, if this is for all of you out there, do not try this at home, but if you want to get out of a contract, you do not do it by showing someone the dirt under your middle fingernail. That does not work. And at 23 or 24 years old, whatever it was, once the dust had settled from the management contract, I was over $100,000 in debt.
Oops.
And I needed to figure out how not to let that happen to me again. And so that's how the whole new journey with Arrival and everything started. So that was the lesson, was that, I love doing this so much, I'm going to figure out a way to do it on my terms.
Right.
And so that's kind of how this all...
Always follow your heart.
Yes.
Don't let anybody squash your dreams with theirs.
Yes. That's an ongoing theme, by the way.
Right. Always. So Say Goodbye, you wrote this?
Say Goodbye was a tune that Charlie brought to me. He had actually kind of written a version of it with another guy in a band he was in. And I loved the music. I thought the music was so great, but I thought we could make it more powerful. So I said, let's just start from scratch with the music. And he, like I said, his piece of music he wrote was unbelievable. And I just said, you know what? I think we can make a more powerful statement out of it. I think we can make a more powerful, and of course, then we had this amazing instrument, Mark Free, which when you hear this vocal, it's just like, oh my God. You know? And Mark was like a human synthesizer. I just sit there and kind of blurt out stuff, and he'd go, yeah, let's do that, So really, it's Charlie and I wrote it. Charlie did some just amazing lead guitar work on it. I think his lead guitar work is, he's the best guitar player that's ever played in this town.
Yeah.
Nobody knows him because we didn't play on stages.
Right.
We did this. We made records.
Right.
And it takes, not belittling anybody, but it takes more to record. And to record at the level we record at, it takes more from the dexterity of a player to do what he's done. And, it's amazing when you listen to what he does, and, you just go, wow. So between Mark's vocal and his great, great guitar work, and Norm Peterson, and I came up with some just absolute, what I think are just great synth textures, and the band played a great groove. It's this haunting, powerful piece.
Okay, well, let's take a listen to Say Goodbye by Arrival.
I
Beautiful. I love that. It's like a blend of. I'm hearing a Journey. I'm hearing Journey.
And we got that a lot.
Yeah.
We that was heavily influenced by me. I was a very big Journey fan, and probably too much so.
Yeah.
During the early years of my career and stuff. Oh yeah, I was copycatting a bunch.
Yeah. But the words and wow. Nice. So Charlie McCormick, Norm Peterson, and you started to form Arrival.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then when that didn't work, you still, when your first recording contract didn't work,
Right.
you still continued.
Yes. We knew that the writing combination was really good. We just had to find the next voice, and kind of the next place, and so we just kept going. We kind of the funny part is, I think at that point, my whatever you want to call it, my football mentality kicked in, and we moved into what would be considered very nice rehearsal space. And we just started writing and really, really practicing like crazy. I mean, we wrote just an absolute plethora of material. But for us and for me, I deal with this a lot in Nashville now. It's like, somebody will jangle out something on their guitar and they'll say, well, I've written a song. And I go, no, it's not a song until it's a master recording. I'm sorry, it's not until it's done, it's not a song. I'm sorry, you can, that's wonderful that you've got your idea and stuff, but until you've taken it to the next place and you've got this thing that you can, actually throw on a radio or it's just, in my head, it's not a song. So we worked like crazy to build this library. I mean, we worked hard on each song. And we built up a library of about 40 or 50 songs.
Yeah, that's what I read here. Over 40 songs. Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. And they were all, very, very technically arranged. They were, here's a little thing that I'll just tell everybody out there. Here's a secret. This is a secret for all bands, young and old. And I know a lot of the old ones don't do it because, it's just obvious. But the best thing you can do, and this is what we did, the best thing you can do is record every rehearsal you do. Most people don't understand that, and they think that what they're hearing in the room, and oh yeah, we got through that song pretty good, and there was only like one mistake here or something like that, or oh, we played it really great at the club the other night, or or my favorite is all the people say we're great. Well, the people are all got like 5 shots of Jack Daniels in them. Come on, man. But the truth is that there's only 2 things in life that will never lie to you. One is God, and the second is the recording machine. Whatever goes in comes right back out. Right. And so we recorded everything. We would, we would not stop it. It wasn't like we'd wait for a good take. We would put, and this is back in the day. We started off. It was a boom box in the middle of the room. We found a sweet spot in the room, and we would basically set up around the sweet spot and put the boom box there and just hit record with a cassette. When the cassette ran out, we flipped the cassette around. I have in my garage a bin full of cassettes that are nothing more than Arrival rehearsals.
I bet.
And some of those are the early versions of the things that became master recordings, rewrites that ended up being other artists use those songs. Stuff that never even, I found there was one day I was looking through it and I went, oh my God, I forgot all about this. I got to do something with this. So there's just this massive, just vast treasure chest that I have of all these cassettes. And just because we would not let the tape machine lie dormant. We recorded everything. The best part about that, though, is it made us better musicians because you're listening back to it and you're not sitting there thinking you're good. You're sitting there going, oh my God, that needs to be better. And I used to spend the next day driving around in my car listening to that cassette going, okay, this needs to be different. That drum part needs to be fixed. This,
Right.
oh, what, whoa, what,
Right.
and mostly criticizing myself. I'd be going, oh my God, Rick, what were you thinking there,
I know.
But,
And I do know. I've been doing that too.
yeah. And so that was the biggest thing we did was we just recorded everything. I mean, even the, break drinking beer, the tape machine rolled, I mean, we just did it that way. And that was the best thing that we could have ever done. And that really developed the writing. It really just, we became, I couldn't believe the ideas that Norm and Charlie would bring forward. I was just kind of like going, oh my God, where'd you think of that?
Right. Well, while you're on the subject, I don't want to interrupt your flow here because you have just got so much to say. But while you're on the subject,
Yeah, everybody will tell you, shut that guy up.
no, never, never, never. My biggest pet peeve is hearing these bands who do not rehearse. I guess they're too good to rehearse, and then they want to know why nobody's at the club, and they blame it on the club.
Well, oh God.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Jeez. Okay. For all you haters out there, here I go. Well, you're right. The real, I think the thing that, and of course I've learned this from being around the best players in the world now, that it's an absolute truth, is investment you put into your development.
And you're not talking monetarily instrumental.
No, I'm not talking about having the greatest gear.
Right.
I mean,
Well, because something that's important.
well, it is important to have adequate and functioning. I mean, if you can't have a guitar where the pickups don't work and stuff
Right.
like that, and you got shorts and stuff. No,
Right.
but Raven, it's so simple. Everyone listening to this, everyone that walks through this earthen life has a talent. The only difference is that certain people, whether they be professional or Olympic athletes, whether they be business people, whether they be musicians, the only difference is the people that you see succeed and become, quote, great are the people who invest the time, the sweat equity, the wood shedding, as we call it. Those are the people who, it's like it's not an overnight success thing. It's not, oh, wow, they got lucky. Yeah, there's a certain amount of being in the right place at the right time. God knows that's happened to me several times.
Right.
But the truth be known, a lot of it was, like I say, the night before and investing hours and hours into why doesn't that feel right? Why doesn't that sound right? What can I do? What has to happen here? All these things. And when you listen to these great musicians and stuff like that, I mean, I'm so blessed to be around these guys. And I love when I hear, well, I got to go practice. I'm going out on tour. I got to practice, And you're sitting there going, why would he have to practice? But it's the exact opposite. Those who you don't think should ever have to practice do the
it
most.
all the time, right?
Elton John sits down at a piano for hours every day. People, people think Elton's just running around, kind of, which he is. But there's also a portion of his day every day that's dedicated to his craft and to refining his skill. Just like, we watch, when we watch the NFL, what we're watching is the game. Okay.
Should we really go there, Rick? I know how you and the Broncos are. Do we want to go off on the football thing?
No,
right now?
but I just want to make an analogy real quick. Is that we're watching the game, or here's a better one because I know about this one firsthand. Olympic ice skaters. You see the girl doing the thing in the Olympics, but you don't see all the days that she gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning, is on the ice by 5 before she goes to junior high school.
Right.
To get herself, to get Christy Yamaguchi or Dorothy Hamill or whoever, they're doing that for years.
Right.
Or Chris Everett or whoever with a tennis racket or, whatever. Music is the exact same way. It is the exact same way. And in this world of instant gratification that we have now with a lot of technological tools, yes, you can cheat, but, cheaters never prosper and it sounds like cheating.
Right.
Flat out, it sounds like cheating.
Right.
You could never compare. I mean, that's
So-
why these kids hear a Led Zeppelin record and they go, "What the hell is that?" Because it's not. Whatever.
Right.
I mean,
So
I
as a
don't
mu-
want to demean anybody that's a current artist or something. I don't want to demean anybody's art, but it's not the same.
Right. But so as a musician or a band, when you're looking out in the audience and there's no one there, instead of blaming it on the venue, you should take a step back and wonder why.
I blame it on the fact that drummers don't shower much.
Really? Is that a fact?
Yes.
Okay. No, I honestly know what you're talking about. I don't know if you ever read my article I wrote for The Scoop. It was called Tonight. And I went there to read an article about the Groove Hogs and Vince Neil. Mm-hmm. And it was my first time actually being on stage during, their setting up, their sound check. And that was the night I met Kenny Passarelli. And he was just talking to me. We were talking about his wife at the time was a ballet dancer, and I took ballet for 14 years.
There you go.
And
There's another example of you just don't stand on your toes one day.
no, you don't. and I didn't even know who he was. He's just talking to me. And afterwards,
Pretty amazing. Not so
yeah,
obvious guy.
So here's this guy, plays with Elton John and Joe Walsh, wrote Rocky Mountain Way, and he's just talking to me. He's just a guy, a normal guy. He had to go pick up his daughter. Well, watching all this, bringing the stuff on stage, doing sound check, bringing it off so Vince Neil's stuff could come up. And I'm thinking to myself, people are bitching because of a $5 cover or a $20 cover. They don't realize what goes into putting on a show. They don't realize all the practices. They don't realize the songwriting.
Right.
And that's what my whole article turned into, because it was just such, it opened my eyes to what these musicians go through.
There is, unfortunately, for most, it is a negative equity proposition. Mm-hmm. For most guys, they are, and I say guys, I mean all women included.
Right.
I don't want, please, girls, don't rain down on me with the fact that I'm being chauvinist or whatever. But for most, what happens is that anymore for the typical cover band, there's not a lot of pay. Mm-hmm. You get kind of a portion of the cover charge or the door charge,
right?
Or maybe, I don't know how it works anymore. Truthfully, I'm so far out of that realm, but I know it's not much. And these clubs, the capacity is whatever, 100, 200 or something like that. They're not big clubs. Mm-hmm. So,
Plus you got the known DUI laws.
Right. But the big piece of the puzzle is that, okay, so here's how much the total for the band is for the night. Okay, and it's not 4 figures. It's not even close.
No.
It's in the low 3 figures.
Right.
Okay, for most. But this band, went and picked out a bunch of songs, about 40 songs to learn, invested hours and hours.
Hopefully.
Pulling it, well, there are hours invested,
right.
Let alone the time when you think about it that, they had to set up in somebody's joint, like, in a basement, and or in a garage or a rehearsal space. They had to set up, and then they drive there and back and forth.
Right.
There's that time. People don't understand how valuable time is.
Right.
And all of a sudden, a band rehearsal that's 2 hours long, well, then you've got a half-hour drive each way or what have you. Well, that's 3 hours. Right. Well, if you do that for a certain amount of time and then, blah, 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 then you get to the gig part. Well, now you got to go set up for the gig. You got to, the whole thing. You do the gig. Then you got to tear down and everything like that. Well, now you've got a 6-hour stretch,
right.
6 to 7 hour stretch between walking through the door of the club to set up to tearing it down at the end of the night. And
that stuff's heavy.
And yeah. Well, I play 2 instruments.
Yeah.
And I charge a lot, by the way. When somebody calls me and wants my services for that, I just say, are you sure? Because I'm going to charge you because it's a lot of gear.
Yeah.
But the point being is that you have all of this investment that goes into it for months and months and months and months to get to the gigs. Mm-hmm. And then the gigs don't pay. So it's negative. It's like having a 100-year mortgage on a house.
Right.
You're never going to get the title back out of it.
Right.
And that's the sad part. And so people are really playing for the joy of it. Those are really the guys that are playing for the joy of it, is these guys that you see around town. I kind of always laugh. There was a thing on Facebook the other day for all you local guys, Jackson Caviter, and 513 just stopped playing. They've been around for forever. And my great friend Danny Martinez, and I just loved them. And I've always been a fan of Danny's. But I always kind of go, well, God, now they're going to shift bands again. They're going to go, they're going to shuffle the cards again.
Right.
But I really love these guys because they're so passionate about music that they'll invest this negative equity into it just because they want to play. And that's kind of the catch-22, going back to the original point. I'm sorry I rabbit trailed, but people don't rehearse and they don't get good because there's no means to an end. That's really kind of the thing. Unless you're some of these original guys that are really shooting for the bigger pie, Rachel James and a bunch of other people, Dave Preston. I mean, these guys are they're all looking at it from a bigger picture. So it's not quite a negative equity situation. But it's really, really difficult for these guys anymore to kind of, and especially again, then you add in the technological part of, back in the day when Bo Hill trained me, you had to align an analog tape machine. You had to go in and put a tape up with tones and bias the tape machine so that all the meters lined up. And, you had to do things that weren't, gimmicked out software that you just plug in and go and stuff like that, and you can fix it later, and you can edit, and you can the big line is the best $600 box ever invented is Melodyne, which for those of you who don't know, that's more commonly referred to as auto-tune. Seriously, we took my niece into the studio, and she can't sing. I mean, Alex, you can't sing. But we made her sound like she could. Really? Oh, God, yeah.
So you could make me sound like I can? Loaded question. Okay, let's move on.
That's all right. Well,
we'll find out after the show.
Awesome. So let's play some more music.
Okay, let's. What about Where My Dreams Are Alive?
You want to you want to go there?
Well, I'm just, going over your bio paragraph by paragraph, and that just happened to come in the bio.
Where My Dreams Are Alive? You mean When I Dream?
Oh, where does my love go? See,
where does my love go?
Why did you bring wine? What is wrong with you?
Oh, my God. Wow. For all of you out there who can't see what's going on, let me just tell you.
Where does my love go? God help me.
Where does my love go? Oh, so you want to play that? That's another old Arrival tune.
Yes. Isn't that what you wanted to play? No.
I didn't know. Ladies and gentlemen, the lunatics have taken over the asylum.
Okay, now, in my defense, all right, let's talk about this wine real quick. I know you got something going on there.
I'm kind of thinking you got something going on.
I do. It's I don't have my. What's the name of it?
It's.
I can't read it from here.
Yeah, you well.
I can smell it. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yes, it is.
But it's Colorado.
It's one of my great new adventures in life. I'm very blessed to be involved as a consultant and partner with Verso Cellars.
Damn good stuff.
Colorado Cabernet. It's probably some of the finest Cabernet made, and it's made here in Colorado by the vintner's name is Paul Phillips. He's a great friend of mine. He's just an incredible winemaker.
Good job, Paul.
Yeah. Yes.
Where can we get this?
Verso Cellars. You can order it online at versocellars.com. It's in a few stores like Argonaut and Applejack and stuff like that. It's not widely distributed. It's still a boutique winery.
I'm going to put a link on my website. Is that okay?
Oh, I'm sure Paul would just absolutely love that.
Paul, this is good stuff, man.
Paul would probably love to be on the show.
Yeah?
Can't play a lick of music and can't sing to save his life.
But he can talk. He's from Colorado.
He can make some wine.
I am all about the local businesses.
Well, this is I was very lucky to find Paul in my life and find his wine, and I fell in love with his wine. And then one day he called me up and he said, he had actually not made wine since 2006. And he's starting to make wine again. And he came to me and said, I'm going to start making wine again. Would you be partnered with me? And I was like,
Hell yeah!
I said, do I get the big long straw that goes into the barrels? And he said yes. So I'm good.
Can Raven have one too?
I don't think we should let Raven anywhere near the barrels.
I only had 2 quarter glasses, right? Almost.
I plead the fifth. For those of you out there, I am not inventorying what Raven has had.
This Cabernet Sauvignon is oh wow.
It is great.
It is. It's delicious.
Just to give you an idea, Paul's whole thing, Paul's a very, very cerebral, techie type guy. And when he decided to make wine, Opus 1, premier Cabernets in the world, retails at about $170 a bottle. And so he literally researched the recipe down to the Cabernet, actual combination of Cabernet grapes to make that.
Nice.
So we're if it was a nationally distributed wine, we're talking about something that would probably go off the shelves in a store at about $80 a bottle. But it's not. It's I don't know what he's retailing. I think it's $22 a bottle.
Okay, well, tomorrow morning after the hangover's gone.
You won't get a hangover from this.
No?
It's so finely made. No, it's aged 24 months in French oak. There's no way you'll get a hangover unless you drink like 3 bottles of it.
Well, the night is young, Rick. Oh, wait, you only brought 2.
Well, okay.
Okay, so anyway.
I didn't know we were going to drink 2. I was trying to give you a gift, and then I thought we needed a bracer because
I love your
I'm
gifts.
scared of the microphone.
I love your gifts. Okay, so tomorrow morning there will be a link on ravenontherock.com for this wine. You have got to try it. All right, so we're going to go to a commercial, and when we come back, we are going to play. Don't tell me. Where does my love go? Yes? Did I get it right that time?
Well, are we doing old Arrivals tunes still? Is that what you want to do?
Well, we have a lot to go over. You got to come back, dude.
Well, I should probably just stop talking.
But you have so much to say and teach and mentor and yes.
I'm sure there's a lot
That's
of
why
people
you're
out there
here.
just going, play some freaking music, would you?
All right, what should we play? You know what? We're going to go to a commercial, and we will come back and surprise you.
We'll do rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, we'll surprise you. We'll be right back.
Supporting local businesses doesn't stop with the economy. It is all about creating a stable and vibrant community. Stimulate our economy by browsing Rely Local's business directory. Saving money doesn't have to cost you, and you no longer have to weed the coupon books that fill your mailbox. Just print them from Rely Local Littleton. Rely Local has combined online job boards and newspapers to provide you with the most local jobs in the Littleton area. Get connected partner in our campaign to rebuild the Littleton economy. Rely Local Littleton, your source for supporting local businesses.
This is Raven with Eggs and Kegs Radio Show here on VRDO, and you're listening to Rockin' Raven.
Okay, we are back. So we're going to move forward with Arrival, and
Most people would say we moved in reverse, but that's okay.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I should probably
Don't mess with me, Rick. I have some Cabernet in me. I knew this was going to be a fun show, but we only have an hour left, and you have we're only in your 20s? Wow. We got to have you back, dude. Yes.
I don't think I have enough wine for that.
Yes. Well, we will find some more wine for that. Okay, so
what do you want to know next?
This delayed CD. Was this a CD or was
Yeah,
this
that was
a record?
The delayed, well, both. Well, I call them all records because it's a recording.
Right.
So regardless, of it being
Vinyl
wax
or CD, yeah.
Yeah, it's always a record to me. So
Yeah.
the delayed record actually was what would be the equivalent of our 4th record.
Okay.
We had accumulated so much material. And in 1998, we had gone through the 90s, and of course, music changed radically in the 90s. There was a whole Seattle thing that happened, and then there was industrial and alternative. And in 1998, a couple of friends of mine came in the studio and do it. And we had, at the time, we had now replaced Mark Free with a guy named Michael Badiaco. It took us 6 years and 64 different guys singing lead vocals on Arrival songs
Wow.
to find Michael Badiaco. And he just happened to walk through the studio and say, hey, I sing background vocals. And all of a sudden, Kevin Clark calls me up going, I got the guy.
Yay.
So I went and auditioned Michael. I went and listened to his tape. It was really, really great. And so we hired Michael. Michael wanted to do, we were exactly what he was looking for. He filled the need for a very rangy, powerful tenor to follow the long shadow cast by Mark Free. I mean, Mark Free's an icon, basically, to replace. Michael fit in really, really well at that time. So we'd gone into, with the encouragement of my friends and whatnot, we did a record. And we did the delayed record. And at this time, I was writing a lot about my faith. And because of that, my business manager and a couple other people were able to get the music really, really a lot of attention through the Nashville channels of Christian rock and contemporary Christian music. And I think the tune you're going to play, which is Some Deja Vu, was our chart hit back then. So this was our big hit back in 1998, 99, something like that.
Yay. All right. Well, let's take a listen to Arrival with Some Deja Vu.
I know I've seen your face another time in another place, but it's not as simple as a memory. Now I realize at last you're the spirit from my past, and I remember the words you said to me. I will be there waiting on the darker side of your soul, reaching out my hand to pull you through. And when the stars collide, we will find we've lost control. When we meet again, some deja vu, some deja vu. How many times before have I stood outside this door, even though I had a different name? What's in my heart and mind transcends space and time. All the emotions are still the same. Yeah, I've been waiting on the darker side of your soul, reaching out my hand to pull you through. And when the stars collide, we will find we've lost control. When we meet again, some deja vu. I will be there standing in the doorway to the other side, holding out the light
So you produced, engineered, and mixed that song. Well, the whole record.
Yes, with Kevin Klock. Yeah, I've been working with Kevin Klock since 1982.
Under As Is No Warranty Music Incorporated.
It kind of sounds like I'm facing a congressional hearing all of a sudden. Yes, that is true. That's my company, yeah.
Yes. So, how did you get there? How did you decide, okay, I'm writing all these songs. I want to be in control.
Well, I'm a control freak. And I'm compensating. No, actually, those who follow along will be rewarded. It goes all the way back. This goes back to Bo Hill. And Bo worked really, really hard with me. And, oh God, I got stories of me actually playing rhythm guitar on tracks while he engineered. I was actually playing, I guess they were guide tracks, and I can't imagine they kept those. Maybe they did. But I would go out and play, and, I wouldn't even get through one measure, and Bo'd go, do it again. Do it again, do it again. Do it. I mean, it was just do it again. On front, you're on top of the beat. You're too far back. Blah blah blah. He really worked me into feeling the music as a player, and all of that. It was kind of like the wax on, wax off from Karate Kid. Was that when we got to the end, when Bo left town, one of the last things he said to me was that, Pod, from now on, you can eradicate the phrase demo recording from your vocabulary. From now on, you cut masters and only masters. And I went, okay. I've never thought of cutting a demo since that day in 1982. I'm making something that's going to be the final recording, period. So when we walk into the studio, whoever I'm working with, that was always the arrival thing. And that's the way we work now for all our stuff for film and television, is that we're not creating a demo. Which has been the funny part about the whole Nashville thing, is that, they're just like, here he comes, and he's just going to blow it all up. Right. Because I'm not doing the steps. Right. I don't do that. I just, right. I know how to get the final product because I was trained that way. I was basically, like I say, wax on, wax off. Next thing I know, I can do this. Right. So it's not really been about control as much as it's been that I was taught to do this. And
now when these bands do these demo CDs, they cost just as much as a mastered, right?
Well, not really. Not really. See, that's the other thing, is that
okay, I guess what I'm saying is, should they even waste their money on a demo? Or should they save more for the mastered?
Well, like I said earlier, I think that bands or younger artists or older artists, whatever, no matter what you're doing, first of all, it does come with the time. Everything comes with how much investment you put into whatever result you're trying to get. And I think that we should look at that in everything. A Mercedes-Benz S-Class cost $80,000 because it's not a Dodge Neon. There's craftsmanship that goes into that car, and so like everything else in life, you get what you pay for. You really do. And there are a lot of lies out there in the recording part of this industry where, we made our record for, one of the biggest lies ever was Creed made their first record for $6,000. That's a lie, folks. There is no way that happened. No freaking way. That might have been the deli tray bill, but there is no way that happened. And these other lies about people doing it in their homes and, and God love Dave Grohl, but, I did it in my garage. Well, his garage is been renovated into a studio. It's not like the lawnmower's out there, right. And an old Chevy truck. The thing's been renovated to look like the inside of Westlake Studios. Right. So there's these embellishments, and you mentioned our great friend Nate Winger earlier. Nate had this great saying he used to say all the time, some people love the truth so much they feel the need to embellish it. And I always thank Nate for that. Whenever I see a blatant out-and-out lie, I just think of Nate sitting there across the table from me saying that. And so there's this lie that has permeated recording, again, with technology. Oh, well, if you get Pro Tools and you get a couple of plugins, you can make a hit record. Excuse me. And that's not the truth. That's not the truth. And unfortunately, though, this has been sold to people just like, all sorts of other discount lies. That's not me. Take a message, would you?
That was me. Oh my gosh. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The host does not know the phone protocol. Is that amazing?
You know what happened? It was the wine. I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot my checklist.
Yeah, it was probably somebody calling in for a request, which was, Rick, stop talking and
It
play
was
some
actually
freaking music.
It was actually my doctor. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Your doctor's calling it? Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on here, folks.
Well, I just found out she's leaving Swedish family, so maybe she was calling me to say goodbye. I
Okay.
don't know. I'm very sad right now. Anyway, go ahead. She's been my doctor for like 8 years.
I'm sorry for that. So anyway, the truth of the matter is that no matter what it is in life, especially recording music, you will always only get what you invest.
Right.
You will only get back out what you invest. And that goes for money, that goes for time, that's everything. And that's the thing I try to, share. But unfortunately, most people in life are just plain lazy. That's really the sad part, is that everybody could be successful. Everybody. But most people aren't, because they're, one, afraid, or two, lazy. People don't have to be overweight. Why are people overweight? Because they won't get off the freaking couch and stop eating brownies, period.
Right.
And that's, by the way, that's all sorts of brownies nowadays, because brownies lead to Doritos. But, seriously, when you look around, when you look at the success stories, it's about people investing time and sweat equity.
Right.
I'm surrounded by people who are the most talented in the world, but they are paid, and they have these incredible gigs and do this phenomenal stuff because of the fact that they invested. They invested the time, the resources, and more than anything, they pushed themselves all in to win. Right. At some point, you have to burn every bridge and say, I'm never going back. You have to say, you know what? I'm not going to work at Meineke anymore.
Right.
I'm gonna do this. And that's for everything. So, your dreams are meant to be your reality, but you have to take the steps to make them your reality. So I rabbit trailed because no, you cannot make a media ready master for, in fact, I do it for less than most people do. And literally, my friends in LA sit there and they look at my budgets and they just go, how in the heck do you do all that on that little money? But when I tell somebody in Denver, Colorado, what the budget is to cut a song, just the studio budget, they freak out. They go, we could make a whole record for that. I just like...
Where?
Well,
and how good would it be?
Yeah, what's it going to sound like?
Right.
So, you get what you pay for. It's the way of life. And there's more specifically and more profoundly, the way I like to put it is that there's no such thing as more for less. There is no such thing as more for less.
I agree. And the sad thing is I'm kind of wondering, I love working with these youth musicians. And right now I've got like maybe 2 handfuls. I count them on both hands of the good ones, that I've seen and I'm having on the show and I've worked with. But just in general, the attitude of the generation that's coming up, they're entitled.
That's it. There are, part of my company, what we do is we develop young artists, which should lead us to the next song, by the way. I have a great song for us then.
Okay.
A girl from Denver who's worked her tail off. She's now in New York auditioning for Broadway shows. I believe you have a song. She's got about 4 songs with her, but they're probably the one is Maybe. We'll do that one. I co-wrote that with the great Mark Griffin, probably the most talented guy I know, Mark Griffin, and my friend Tom Capek. But Ashley Harris came to me at 22 years old, and I've never seen a young girl work so hard.
Yeah.
She I mean, amazing how hard she's worked. And she is the shining example. And at the same time that we had Ashley, we have I don't know, most people don't know this, but one of the premier vocal trainers in the world is here in Denver, Colorado, Dr. Scott Martin. And Scott has been very good to me with, helping develop all this talent. Well, while we had Ashley with Dr. Scott, we also had 2 other girls, young girls, very, very, very gifted. Neither one of them had really the understanding. They had the desire, they wanted to be, on MTV or whatever.
But they wanted it immediate.
Yeah, they did not want to work for it. One girl, we invested, oh God, our company probably, I won't give a number, but it was a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And she was 15. She had it all. I mean, my God, she was beautiful, everything like that. We couldn't get her over the hump. She would not do the work.
Right.
And it was very sad because all she had to do was the work. And we would have her, she'd have been on probably about 7 or 8 of our songs right now. Mm-hmm. She was that good. She was really, really good. At the same time, we had Ashley there, and she was just blowing. I mean, it was almost funny because every once in a while they'd follow each other in and out of Scott Martin's office, and we'd be, here's Ashley, and we'd be like jumping up and down, and then the next girl come in, and we'd just be like shaking our heads, going, "Excuse me, what's wrong with this picture?"
Yeah.
Excuse me. See, I'm gagging because it was so sad. But that's the thing, is that it's about the investment that somebody will put into it. So Ashley Harris, the story of how I met her was really phenomenal, and she chased me down.
Yeah. And
wanted to do this. She's very driven, unbelievably driven. That's why she's now chasing Broadway parts. At 20, I think she's 26 now.
Mm-hmm. So she stalked you like you stalked.
I stalk everybody. I am that. Ashley, what happened was that I was actually on a fixed-up coffee date with her mom, which I was sitting there looking at the coffee cup across the table going, please, empty, because her mom and I were not compatible at all.
No.
But her mom asked me, so what do you do? And I told her, and she goes, well, you need to hear my daughter sing. And, of course, my eyes rolled.
The tree in the land.
My eyes rolled so far back in my head, I guarantee you she saw gray matter. But I said, have her send some stuff over, and Ashley sent me some tracks that were kind of hip-hop and not really what we do. And I wrote her back, and I said, God, you have a great voice, but this is not what we do. And she, this 21 or 22-year-old girl, got my phone number and called me. And she said, Rick, you don't understand. Those are tracks I did when I was 18. It was all I could do. I was working with a guy. I don't have anything else. And I said, well, what do you want to do? And she goes, well, I want to be like the next Tina Turner.
Whoa. And
I went, full on knowing what the answer to the question was, I said, what made Tina Turner so different? Because she said, well, let me preface that. Well, hold on. Let me back up. She prefaced that statement with, I don't want to be like Beyonce. I don't want to be like Rihanna. I want to be like the new Tina Turner. And knowing that what Tina Turner did, I said, well, what made Tina Turner different? And she said, Tina Turner sang rock songs. And she goes, that's what I want to do. I want to sing rock songs. And I said, okay. And she goes, Rick, I want to sing your songs. She had researched me. She had listened to my music. And she had such a passion for doing this that, there was no way that I wasn't going to let her do it, especially with her. She was so good.
Yeah.
So that's...
Well, now I'm excited to hear this.
This is Ashley Harris, and a tune we wrote called Maybe that was basically, we designed a sound for Ashley. So it's kind of this pop rock type of thing for her.
Nice. All right, here we go.
Na 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 na. Maybe I said to myself the first time I saw you. Yeah, just consider the possibility of maybe, will you imagine how awesome it would be? Oh yeah, maybe, it's highly likely that it might be something real. Just the notion of emotion that I feel. You know it just may. You know it just may. You know it just
Dang. That was awesome.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Beautiful. She's amazing. She can really.
And what'd you say she's doing now?
She's auditioning. She's in New York auditioning for Broadway shows now. She has a theatrical background. She was big in theater around Denver, the Arvada Center today, DCPA and whatnot for years. Mm-hmm. And, I kind of got her in this bridge area where she was just wanting to move to New York and whatnot, because that's really her love. She's great on the stage. I saw her. She did probably the best. I've never seen it on Broadway, so I can't say the best ever, but the best that I think could be done, the best rendition of Joanne in Rent. Oh my God, she was unbelievable. But she's just really, really, she's kind of built, so to speak, for the stage, and she really loves that. But we taught her how to record, and she's, believe me, I can't wait to do more recording with her, and anybody who gets to record with her is going to be very, very, very thankful.
I would love to meet her. Let me know when she's back in Denver.
Will do.
We'll get her in the studio.
Awesome.
See what she's been up to. So what's next? What's after Joanna?
Joanna.
It's the wine.
Okay.
Ashley.
Well, after Ashley, we basically...
Where did I get Joanna?
Because I said Joanne from Rent.
Okay. No more wine. I'm going to start
You're
drinking my
empty.
coffee.
You're empty, so you're cut off, yeah.
I'm done.
We'll probably have to 86 you from the studio, and I'll just take over.
Okay.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Ric on the Rock.
Okay, so after Ashley went to New York, then what came?
Well, that's just been part of, we're what we do now is we design music for film and television. That's our deal. We create media-ready masters. I write songs, or I co-write songs with my collaborating partners. And then we take it into the studio and we create a media-ready master designed for film and television placement. Like Maybe, the tune we just played, we're shopping that for. In fact, it was in final review last year for a national advertising commercial for a perfume company, if you can imagine that. And right now, they're looking at it to be the theme for an online dating service. I can't say which one, but...
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Just imagine, the possibilities of Maybe.
Yeah. Nice.
So, yeah.
So do you ever get something, like a movie or something, and then write a song? Or do you write the songs and then try to match them up?
Right now, because we're where we're at, we're a small, independent, boutique company. We're just creating a library. Nobody has actually come to me and contracted me, commissioned me to say, this is what the movie's about, this is what we want. But there are so many different avenues for us right now. With
Soap operas.
I
I was just talking to two young kids last week. They were on my show, Chris and Taylor Marvin.
I know Taylor Marvin.
Yes, and some of their songs just hit me like, because yes, I watch Young and the Restless, so what? But some of their songs just hit me like, whoa, I can see this in a soap opera.
Since you mentioned Young and the Restless, I should probably tell you that one of the people who works with me is the great Kelly Moneymaker, who sang background vocals on Maybe. Mm-hmm. Kelly Moneymaker's husband is Peter Reckel, who's a friend of mine who was Bo Brady.
Nice.
So there you go.
Yay.
It's a small world.
It is a small world.
Anyway,
Yes.
enough about Peter. He's a superstar. Back to me, because
You are a superstar.
I need some love.
Oh. You get a lot of love.
So basically, yeah, Ashley is one of the young talents we've developed and worked with as far as that goes. Are you wanting me to set up another song? Is that kind of why you asked me this? Okay. The next tune we are about to feature
Is? Da, 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 da.
I was brought a couple of years back. This really just amazingly talented kid. Oh my God, from Sacramento, California. He so much energy, so much talent, so just oh my God, it was like he had the mind of Freddie Mercury and the voice of David Coverdale.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just so much. It scared me. It was just so much. It scared me. And I was able to capture lightning in a bottle, get him on one song. I've got another tune for him the next time I can kind of corral him because he's so busy and so crazy. When I Dream is the song that you want. This is one of I wrote this with my great friend Mark Griffin. Mark brought me 4 chords and I went, oh my God, I know exactly what to do with this. And I came up with this whole idea about dreaming. And then I got Ian Lovelace is the guy I'm talking about, the young artist who's just, like I said, man, Ian Lovelace, look for that because that's going to be, something. I don't know where it's going to end up, but oh my God. So we did this tune with Ian Lovelace called When I Dream. And I'm really proud of the lyrical content and the concept I came up with. I kind of, it's kind of one of those things where I'm just like laughing at myself because I can't believe I thought of it.
You don't give yourself enough credit. All right, here's When I Dream.
As the night falls and darkness takes its claim, the moon shines like a spotlight and the stars will take the stage. The overture of the day is done and slowly fades to black. The unveiling, the revealing of the real from the abstract. When I close my eyes, time stands still as the champagne spills, living the ultimate thrill. When I dream, tasting death, no one does, free falling out of the sky, awaken just in time. When I dream, when I dream, in silence, the soundtrack's amplified. Every movement, every motion, every detail's magnified. To be continued every night. There's a reoccurring role of the mystery and the magic of the music in my soul. And when I close my eyes, time stands still as the champagne spills, living the ultimate thrill. When I dream, tasting death when no one dies, free falling out of the sky, awaken just
You're listening to VRDO, your variety station. Visit our website at www.vrdoradio.com.
So tell me who all was in on When I Dream. There was just more than Ian?
Right.
Yes.
And Joanna.
No, Joanna. Ian. So who are the background vocals?
Okay, on that tune, background vocals were all done by my great friend Robbie Wyckoff, who can I brag on all these guys?
Of course you can. I want to know all about them.
I just can't even believe, truthfully, like I told you early on, I can't believe that the phone rings, and I pick up the phone and I look at it and I go, oh my God, look who's calling me. My great friend Robbie Wyckoff did his first vocal for me back in 2004 on a tune called Your Love Pulled Me Through, and Robbie's sung probably about, I think, 8 or 9 songs for me so far over the last 10 years. But Robbie's one of the premier session vocalists in LA. He's done tons and tons of work with everybody from Diana Ross and Celine Dion to Rick Springfield to, God, I'm trying to think of tons of commercials, all sorts of stuff. But about 5 years, was it 5 years ago? 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I think. Robbie got the call of his lifetime, and he got to do the biggest tour that's ever been. Robbie was out singing all of David Gilmour's parts on Roger Waters' The Wall tour. So he toured the world for 2.5 years, singing, these classic songs, standing on the biggest stage. And I mean, I got to tour the entire workings. Robbie took me on a pre-show tour of the entire stage of The Wall, and because if you got to see that show, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That, oh my God. I mean, it's amazing what $60 million will buy.
Of course.
But so Robbie sang background vocals on that. Let's see, who else? Of course, the guy who I owe I think my entire my life to. Who again, I can't believe that I know him. I can't believe that I get to work with him. I can't believe he's my friend. He just called yesterday because we were watching football. And that's the great John Robinson. Most people, he's not a household name. If you're a drummer, you know who John Robinson. Well, actually, if you're a drummer in the know, I've come across drummers who go, "Who's that?" Which is funny because he is the drummer. There's none. It's there's nobody besides John who's done what he's done in the world of recording music. He's the most recorded drummer of all time. He's played on the biggest records of all time. The fact that he kind of just basically gave me an order 10 years ago and said, nobody else plays drums for you. And I was like, okay. So that was John Robinson. On that track, I believe it was Kerwin Brown on bass. And my great friend Randy Chavez, who, and Charlie also played guitar on that too. Charlie McCormick played guitar, and so did Randy Chavez, play guitar on that. So that's kind of that. We have a group of guys that are the best. They really are the best in the world. And our company, because our company is As Is No Warranty Music, we call them the A-Team. Mm-hmm. So that's the A-Team on that tune.
Do you know what I find amazing? You're sitting here talking about, oh my God, I can't believe they called me.
I can't. I'll show you, man. It's funny,
But you're Ric Podmore.
Yeah, I'm just the goofy guy from Denver.
Do you feel like it's like this music world, no matter if you're in LA or Nashville or Denver, it's just like one big family, all like aiming for the same goal?
You know what it is? Here's really the kind of the truth I've discovered. In the circle that I am blessed to travel in. Now there are other circles, okay? And do you see the look? Nobody can see the look on my face,
yes,
but
I
you.
See the look.
There are other circles.
Mm-hmm.
The circle I travel in that I'm so thankful for. Yeah, I've come to discover that it's an industry of friends. Mm-hmm. And each person has led me to the next person. John Robinson led me to Robbie Wyckoff. Robbie Wyckoff led me to Kelly Moneymaker. Kelly Moneymaker led me to Amy Keys and Lynn Finelli and Janelle Sadler. Robbie Wyckoff also led me to Larry Antonino, who now plays bass on all of our tracks. Larry is probably my favorite thing. Is Larry's actually had a role in one of my favorite movies of all time, That Thing You Do, the Tom Hanks movie about the rock band.
I love that.
Yeah, Larry Antonino, our bass player, is the Wolfman. Scott Pell. That's Larry Antonino. Yeah.
That is like the Oneaters.
Yeah, the Oneaters. Yeah. Well, Larry has become the A-Team's bass player, and I'm so grateful for Larry. He's just a beautiful, beautiful human being. So Larry, Robbie led me to Larry. And then also Robbie and Larry led me to the guy oh my God, I can't believe I got to get this guy to sing for us, but the great Ken Stacy just joined our team. Ken Stacy is not a household name, but he did 3 world tours singing background vocals for Elton John. He was scheduled on the This Is It tour for Michael Jackson when Michael died. Mm-hmm. In fact, he's in the movie being interviewed. He's done tons and tons of records. He is also currently the lead singer in the band Ambrosia. He's an amazing singer. My God. I mean, unbelievable. Probably, I just can't even tell you what a joy it was to just sit there and just, look at this guy singing my song.
So I'm assuming he probably knows Kenny Passarelli.
I don't know.
Because that name sounds familiar, and Kenny did Elton John.
I couldn't tell you.
So do you see what I mean? This whole music thing is just...
It's an industry of friends. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is that from everybody. And that's not just the performers, the technical side guys, Steve Sykes and Kevin Klock and all my guys that are here that really, everybody, again, I keep thinking that I just have this magic fairy dust I'm sprinkling on people because people want to help me and people want to work with me. And
you've been given a gift.
Well, I figured something out. There are a few secrets that I can never tell.
Okay.
There are a few secrets that I can never tell. But there is one that I will tell to everyone, that because it's really what it's all about. And this is why the greatest talent in the world wants to work with me. Is that I consider this all to be the greatest thing ever. And so I treat it as if it's a giant amusement park. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go and have the time of my life. And when we make music, as you saw in the documentary of Share the Magic, I just take everybody in the studio and we're going to have a great time. Yeah. It's stupid to try and make Mozart. Mm-hmm. Especially with the talent I'm working with. Let them do their thing, right? And the Mozart just happens. Exactly. When you get all serious and you're this whole tormented, because I did that for a while, by the way. The first Arrival recordings were like that. I was a tormented, perfectionist, and they sound tormented and rigid and stuff like that. The stuff I do now, I know it doesn't sound that way because we're literally having the time of our lives.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, we're doing something that's eternal. I mean, 200 years from now, somebody's going to find, probably won't find it, find a CD and go, what the hell's this? But, somewhere's on a chip or on a web. Well, they probably won't even have the web. It'll be something else. It'll probably be like some sort of embedded chip in the head thing. Or I don't even know,
You stand on your right foot and lift your left arm.
Well, probably, they'll probably be fitting people as cone heads coming out of the womb, just, and we'll have the real life Beldars,
Yeah.
But
it'll be there.
It'll be there 200 years from now.
Especially Show the Magic. You know how I feel about that.
Well, I caught that, by the way.
But we're gonna have to. We only got 20 minutes left, and we have like your whole life to go yet. You have to come back.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like that George Carlin joke about the game show. The rules take so damn long that the first question is, "Can you come back tomorrow? We're out of time."
Wednesday the 14th. How about that? As long as there's no snow.
Wednesday the 14th.
Yeah.
Wednesday the 14th.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll talk about it.
I don't know.
We'll talk about it.
I don't know. You better have your people call my people and,
I have people? Oh, I have people.
There's got to be a minion around here somewhere.
I have people.
Awesome.
Yes. So, else could I just love this music that you write. It's just
Would you like to hear the greatest vocal performance
Yes.
ever?
I would.
From somebody who lives here in Denver, Colorado, no less.
Mm-hmm.
She is unbelievable. I'm blessed with 3 phenomenal singers, all from Denver, Colorado. Ashley Harris, Pam Savage, and the amazing Christine Starkey.
Okay.
I was being all quiet, and she answered, "Must be the wine."
You weren't being that quiet because I heard you in my headphones. Okay. Anyway.
It's about time for me to break out my very, very sophomoric jokes.
So
Where My Dreams Are Alive is the tune. And this is literally, I swear it's one of the best vocal performances ever. You can hold it. It stands up to any Celine Dion or Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey. She's so good. And I was fortunate enough to be, Charlie McCormick brought me this piece of music years ago. And I didn't know what to do with it. I was kind of like, man, that's so unusual. And I actually wrote the verses, and I had this other chorus that just sucked. I'm just going to tell you, the chorus that I had for this song just sucked. And I finally figured out what the song should be about. I rewrote it and reworked it a little bit. We went and cut it, and it just, Christine came in. And by the way, when she cut this, she was sick as a dog. Aww. She was struggling like crazy. She was like, "Rick, I know I should probably be doing this a different day," and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, "No, you sound great, man." It's just, all the blood and guts that were coming out of her voice that day was just wonderful. And she was, what a trooper. The girl is just unbelievable. I'm very fortunate to have her sing my songs. Can't believe I know her. Again, can't believe I know her. She's right here in Denver, Colorado. She just sings like there's no tomorrow. I'm very proud of this vocal performance. I'm just very proud of it completely.
And you wrote Where My Dreams Are Alive.
I wrote that with Charlie McCormick, yes.
Okay, here we go.
There is silence just before dawn, when dreams seem to wander so far beyond. I feel my heart racing as the new day begins, and I am awakened to live this reality all over again. Every single day, I'm gonna live on the edge where my dreams are alive. I'm wanting to win, pushing everything over the line. Where my dreams are alive. The pace never hastens, and the margin extends. Oh, between me and the doubt, fear, and worry that once were my friends. Every single day, I'm gonna live on the edge where my dreams are alive. I'm wanting to win,
That was amazing. I love it when I can tell that a vocalist is just singing her heart out without, what's the word I want? Not stressing.
Well, it's not forced.
Struggling, right? It's not forced.
struggling.
It's
No,
just
she's just in
her.
the groove. Yeah, she's.
And that last note, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's fun, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fun. She's really, really, really great. She's just absolutely a consummate professional.
What is she doing now?
Singing.
Just
She sings in a group called Soul X. She and her husband own a company called Starkey Productions, and they do a lot of corporate, stuff, entertainment stuff. So, yeah, Chris Starkey, very brilliant guy, very talented guy too. I'm kind of jealous of him. I should be so talented.
You are very talented. You were singing in here before the show. You sound awesome.
and every moose in Canada started to stampede.
That's not true. You sound great. Every moose in Canada. You nut. Now I totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I know what I was going to say.
This is really... Alrighty then.
Next show, no wine till after the show. She kind of reminds me of my dentist.
She reminds you of your dentist?
Yes.
I can't wait to hear how that goes together.
Well, my dentist's name is Ric Denson. And I recently, about a month ago, had some oral surgery. And the guy that was supposed to give me my happy gas didn't make it because he was accepting an award, which was totally okay because I had some drugs. But you know what got me through that oral surgery?
I can't wait to hear how this works out because this is a very twisted plot.
Dr. Denson sang through the whole surgery. Anything that came on the radio, Stevie Wonder, whatever, she sang. And that music, listening to her sing to me, got me through my surgery. But you know what the sad thing is? She only sings in church. So I'm going to get her in here on the show, and I'm going to take her out to a karaoke thing or something. Maybe a jam. Yeah.
Okay.
What would you say to people like that have that kind of talent, that beautiful voice? What if Christy, is that her name?
Christine
Starkey. What if you heard her sing, and she didn't want to do it in front of anybody, or what advice would you give them?
See, that's the thing, is that as I was stating earlier, there's only two things that hold people back. One is the dedication and the commitment to invest the time and the sweat equity, and the other is fear. And it just blows my mind because fear. Well, let's just face it, we're all living in fear. Why do we have locks on our doors, and why do people want guns and blah 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 blah? It's because we're all afraid of each other as humans.
Yeah.
But there are these demons in our heads that people sit there and they go, I can't do this, that'll never happen, I'm not good enough. All these things that surround people's lives, and that's really that's what happens. But the amazing discovery that I made from a lot of research, a lot of reading. This is not me. I'm far from the most knowledgeable human on the face of the planet, but a lot of acquired knowledge from a lot of places told me that it's actually harder. It's a harder life to live with regret of what if. Or if only, I guess I should say, than to basically, follow the path of what's in your heart. To basically, as that song says, push it all over the line. I'm all in to win. And, that's really where it is. Most people are afraid based on, the things of ridicule or cynicism and criticism. There's this fear. And it's funny because, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Right. And, I think a lot of the fear is failure, but I feel like you only fail if you don't try.
Yeah, there's literally, I'm similar kind of mantra, if you will, of mine is that the only way you can fail in this lifetime is to give up. Mm-hmm. It's the only way you can fail.
Right.
Because at some point, perseverance has its reward. Mm-hmm. At some point, perseverance, if you think of, there's countless stories of people who, I often think of, because we live in Colorado, I think about the fact that our state really it became a civilized place in the country based on the gold rush. Mm-hmm. And a lot of guys came out here looking for gold, and most of them just gave up too early because there was a lot of gold around here.
Right.
And some guys got lucky and found it real fast. Some guys killed for it and did lots of, wrong things for it. But there's countless stories of guys that, they dug and they dug and they dug and they dug and they were like a foot away and they quit. Yeah. And a guy comes along and he goes, "Well, look at this big hole. I don't have to, I don't have to start a hole. I'll just finish it." And the guy who finished the hole became a millionaire.
Right.
And that's really the thing, is that perseverance always has a reward. It always does. And that's the thing. Who will persevere? Who will hang on? I mean, here's a great one for you. Here's a great example. Football, Denver Broncos. Mm-hmm. Okay? The guy that is the football icon in this town, Peyton Manning is here now, but the football icon in this town is John Elway. Mm-hmm. Took him 15 years and a lot of embarrassing moments to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
That guy could have easily retired with the fortune he made as a businessman. He's a Stanford business graduate with a master's degree. Mm-hmm. He did not have to play football as long. He just wanted to lift that freaking trophy.
Yeah.
He just kept playing until he could lift that trophy, until his body couldn't even take it anymore. Mm-hmm. That's perseverance. Most guys would have said, "Screw this, I'm going to go, do something else, and, I'm just not going to, that's not going to be my life," and they give up. Right. This guy said, "I'm going to do it come hell or high water." And that's all you got to do, is you just got to say, come hell or high water, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. That's the other thing. You have to be in the moment. Right. I'm doing it. Right. So
I have a few things I'm doing. Damn it.
Awesome.
Guess what? We're out of time.
Can you come back tomorrow?
Can you help? Well, actually, I don't have a guest host tomorrow.
Oh, well, I was just, that was my, like I said, that was my game show, George Carlin thing. I don't,
I know. Do you want to come back tomorrow?
I will invite myself back, I don't know, for the next 3-4 weeks. You people all want to hear all about me.
Definitely, they do.
Yes, I will bring pictures of my underwear.
Oh, goodness. I can't wait for that. Yay.
Well, yeah.
Well, we haven't even gotten into your 3 songs that you, wow.
My 3 songs of wow?
Your 3 songs. They're all wow. But Share the Magic that I have been pushing for the last 3 months. It's an incredible... It's just incredible. I'm speechless.
You guys missed it. That was about 3 of the basic ballet moves she was trying to do in Italian or something.
I am Italian. I do talk with my hands.
Oh my God,
yes.
That was... You must be double jointed to have done that.
It leaves me speechless. The 40 musicians, you writing it, the musicians playing it, the harmonies, the fact that you had 40 people in the studio and it all worked.
It was actually over 60, but...
Yeah, well, with everybody else. Yeah, and it worked. And it's amazing.
Well, thank you.
And like I was telling you before the show, I do not think that Share the Magic should just be a Christmas song. I think it should be about Colorado and about people in general sharing magic in their life. And,
it is.
And Colorado is a magical place, and that's why I'm here.
It is. It's incredible, and it's beautiful. I'm very thankful to live here. That's what I wrote the song mostly about, is that, this is, in my mind and in my heart and in my soul, the most beautiful place that there is to live. And I'm grateful. Pot or no pot, I'm grateful to be here.
I am too. I've wanted to come here since I was 6, and I made it. I did it.
There you go.
Just
awesome.
like I'm going to do some other things in my life.
So I wanted to just say, because we were screwing around so much in the very beginning, I didn't say thank you for having me. I wanted to thank you so much for having me here. This is great.
No, thank you for being here. You have to come back, though, because we have 30 seconds and
29,
we
28,
have so
27.
much left to go over.
Who drank the Tang? I don't know. What do you say in the last 30 seconds? You know?
Well, what I say is stay tuned on my Facebook and on my website for when we decide Rick is going to come back. Maybe it will be tomorrow. Who knows? And always remember, only you can make your dreams come true.
That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll be back. Raven on the Rock is brought to you by Rock and Raven Productions and the Scoop 303. I'd like to give a shout out to our musical credits for our intro, The World Famous Johnsons, our exit, Garco, and our Raven Raps commercial by Michael Thornbuckle. I'd like to thank Rely Local Littleton for sponsoring us, and you can check out all our advertisers on the left side of our website, ravenontherock.com. I'd also like to thank all the amazing musicians in Denver and around the world for sharing their music with us.